Good morning and welcome to today's webinar where you'll learn about the new Carlsbad Connector service coming to your area on August 19th. My name is Jay Fott and I'm the iCommute Program Manager at the San Diego Association of Governments. I just want to provide a few housekeeping notes as we get started here. You'll see a box on the right-hand side of your screen for questions. Please feel free to type in your questions throughout the presentation and we'll save time at the end to address them. Also, we are recording this webinar and we'll email you a copy to all participants in case you'd like to watch it again or share it with your coworkers. Today, we're going to talk about an exciting new pilot project that is the first of its kind in this region. This is a joint project between SANDAG, the City of Carlsbad, and the North County Transit District. The Carlsbad Connector is an on-demand transit connection that will provide shuttle service from the Carlsbad Poinsettia COASTER Station to key employer sites in Carlsbad. If you have employees at your organization who would like to have commuted on the coaster but haven't because it just seems too far from your office, then this service is for them. I'm going to start today's webinar with some background information about the SANDAG iCommute Employer Program and explain how you can promote this new service to your employees and coworkers. I'll then hand it over to Christy Marcella with the City of Carlsbad, who will share insight on service details and show you the coverage area. We'll end today's webinar with Rihanna Jagasar from our service provider, RideCo, who will provide an initial demonstration on the app and its features, including how to reserve rides. Our goal at iCommute is to reduce the drive alone rate in the San Diego region and in turn, help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We do that by offering programs and incentives to carpool, vanpool, take transit, bike, walk, or telework. We have a completely free employer services program where we help companies in the San Diego region reduce their drive alone trips amongst their employees. We are currently working with over 200 employers in the region, and you can see those highlighted on the map there. We surveyed their employees to find out how their staff members are commuting to work. Our GIS team then takes that data and creates a map that shows where people are coming from in relation to transit lines, bike paths, and park and ride lots. This allows us to identify some potential travel options. The survey digs a little deeper and also analyzes whether people are interested in using transportation alternatives. If we find there is interest for a particular mode like transit, then we can schedule free events at employer sites to educate employees about their transit options and explain how to use the bus or train, especially if they've never done so. As we've been surveying employers in Carlsbad, we have found there is interest in using the coaster to commute to work, but with jobs several miles away, the time and route restrictions of taking the bus sometimes deter people from doing so. This is why we have worked with the City of Carlsbad and NCTD to pilot this new on-demand transit connection. We really think this is the solution that people have been waiting for. So how can employers support their employees with a transit commute and reduce their drive-alone trips? One way is through a subsidized transit pass. We have found that people are more likely to use transit and change their commute if their employer pays for part or all of their ride. Another way employers can support a transit commute is by offering pre-tax benefits. It's similar to a flexible spending account, but this is dedicated to paying for their sustainable commutes. The pre-tax deduction is money that is taken out of the employee's gross pay before taxes are withheld from their paycheck. This not only provides a cost savings to employees, but also to employers. You should contact your payroll provider if you do payroll through a vendor. They'll have a program that makes it pretty easy to implement. If you do payroll in-house, talk with your tax advisor about how you can make this benefit available to employees. Of course, these are just some options you can consider to help reduce the drive alone rate at your work location and provide this as a benefit that employees are looking for. We want to remove the roadblocks that are keeping people from using public transportation. Sometimes we hear from people that they don't want to be without their car in case of an emergency. What if they get sick at work and they need to use their car to get home? Well, we have the Guaranteed Ride Home program. This is a completely free service that is available to anyone who chooses to carpool, vanpool, take transit, bike, or walk to work. SANDAG iCommute will provide a free ride home in a taxi or rental car up to 3 times per year if the commuter encounters a personal or family emergency or unexpected overtime. Commuters just need to register for free on our website at iCommuteSD.com. And before I hand it over to Christy to share more details about the Carlsbad Connector, I want to ask you all for help to help us spread the word about this service in your organizations. We have developed an employer toolkit of resources to make this easy for you to do. The toolkit includes a fact sheet, sample email language, a newsletter article, intranet copy, and social media posts to share with your employees, as well as web buttons and banners if that's something you're able to do. We can also provide posters for you to put in employee break rooms or on bulletin boards. Additionally, our team is available to come directly to your worksite to provide information and host tabling events to show people how to use the app and provide personalized transit trip planning assistance for attendees. We have a few public events planned before the service launches so people can see the vehicles and ask questions before they try it out. We hope that you're able to attend some of these events, and we hope to put this on our website also at carlsbadconnector.com. And now I'm going to hand it over to Christy Marcella with the City of Carlsbad so she can walk you through the greater details of this new service.
Thank you, Jay. And thanks to everyone for attending this webinar. As the city's economic development manager, I'm going to provide an overview of the service. This service is focused on commuters traveling to work in Carlsbad, and as Jay stated at the beginning of the webinar, it starts on Monday, August 19th. The hub of the service is the Poinsettia COASTER train station, serving primarily northbound morning trains from 7 to 9 a.m. and serving the primarily southbound afternoon and evening trains from 3 to 6 p.m. There is lunch service offered from noon to 3 p.m. so that employees don't feel the need to drive just because they need a car to get someplace to eat at lunchtime. The following maps show how the service is configured. The system works using virtual stops, intended to drop off or pick up someone within 250 feet of their ultimate destination or origin. These maps are examples of where virtual stops may be, but the virtual stops can be changed administratively based on demand or use. On the larger map, the blue dots in buildings show drop-off and pick-up stops for the morning and afternoon commute service. Some of the stops could be a bus stop or even the front door of a neighboring business. The green fork and spoon icons show lunch stop locations. The service will also service Carlsbad Village for lunch so that employees can enjoy and experience our downtown. The Carlsbad Connector app has very similar intuition and function as rideshare apps like Uber and Lyft. You do need to make a reservation. The service optimization attempts to ensure the rider experience is no longer than current transit connection service and is as close to driving time as possible. The virtual stop should be no more than a 5-minute walk to or from your office front door. RideCo, the company that developed the app, will provide a brief demo after this section of the presentation. On this page, you will see screenshots for the app so that when you go to download it, you'll know what you are looking for. The app is currently available for download on iOS and Android. There is a call-in number for those who are looking to book reservations that don't have a smartphone. The pilot service has been funded by the City of Carlsbad, SANDAG, and NCTD for up to 10 months to a year, depending on funding, to determine if this shuttle service can generate new consistent transit ridership. There are 4 vehicles as part of this pilot service, each with 12 passenger seats. One vehicle is fully ADA compliant, and reservations for the ADA secured space can be made through the app. The vehicles will be branded like the picture below and numbered so that they are easily recognizable. The reservation will give you the vehicle number you should be looking for when boarding at the train station or from work. Each vehicle will also be equipped with 2 bike capacity racks. If you have a monthly coaster or Region Plus day pass, rides on the Carlsbad Connector are free, as they would be if you were to hop on a breeze bus. If you do not have a coaster or Region Plus day pass, the cost is $2.50 per ride each way. The discount fare for senior, Medicare, and disabled riders is available with a valid SDM card or other eligible form of ID, such as a Medicare card or driver's license for senior citizens. Now I will pass it on to Rihanna Jagasar of RideCo, who will provide a brief demo of the app.
Hey everyone, I'm going to show you how simple it is to use the Carlsbad Connector app to book a ride. If you've never used the app before, you'll have to register an account, so you can do that by clicking on the register button. If you already have an account, you simply select the sign in option. Here you enter your email and password and select sign in. Once you sign in once, the app will keep you logged in, so you don't need to go through this sign in process each time. So when you log in, it takes you to the book a ride screen. To book a ride, you first type in your pickup location. So let's say you're coming in on the train in the morning, so you want to be picked up at the station. Let's type in Poinsettia Station. option to enter your address is to select it on the map. So let's do that for the drop-off location. Set as drop-off. Next, we need to select what type of seat we'd like to book. So we can do that by selecting this icon on the top left. So if I'm a passenger who would require a general seat, I'd select the standard option. On the right, I can specify how many seats I'd like to book. So if I'm traveling to work with my friend, I can book 2 rides in the same booking. For now, we'll just book 1. If you're traveling with your bike, you'll select the standard with bike option. This reserves 1 seat for you on the shuttle and a space on the bike rack for you to store your bike. If you have an SDM card and require a standard seat, you'll select the SDM standard seat option. Note that you will need to present your SDM card upon boarding the vehicle for verification by the driver. If you require a space for a mobility device like a wheelchair that requires the securement, you should select the ADA accessible seat option. If you have an SDM card and also require an accessible seat, you will select the last option. So let's go ahead with 1 standard seat. So next we have to select the time we'd like to book for. So if I'm coming in on the train that gets to the station a little after 8:30 a.m. in the morning, let's search for a trip for 8:35 a.m. Okay. Next, we need to select what day we'd like to book for. So I can book a ride for today, tomorrow, or the day after that. We also have the option for multi-day subscription. This allows you to book the same ride for all or any of the next 7 days into the future. So for example, if you always take the 8:36 a.m. train into Carlsbad, you can book your rides for the entire week on a Sunday evening and not have to worry about booking every day of the week. So to do that, you would select the multi-day subscription option. For today, let's just select one of these options above. Let's book a ride for tomorrow. Next, we tap on the Find Rides button. Here we see the option that we searched for. The pickup and drop-off locations appear on the map, so you can switch between them. Here you see the pickup location, here you see the drop-off location. These locations are called virtual stops. Virtual stops may be bus stops or other carefully selected locations near to employer buildings. These stops have been placed strategically such that it will allow you to walk from a stop to your workplace in 5 minutes or less. So on the left at the bottom here, we see the pickup window. Your driver can arrive at any time in this window and will wait for 30 seconds once they arrive. You will receive a text message when your driver is on his way, and you will be able to track your driver's location in the app, so you won't necessarily need to be standing outside for this entire window. In the morning, everyone will be getting off the train at the same time, so all the vehicles will be there at the station waiting right at the start of this window. However, in the evening, when you're being picked up from your workplace, that's when you might want to track your driver's location and be at the virtual stop in time for when your driver arrives. On the right, here we see the arrive before timestamp. This is the latest time that you will be dropped off by. It's likely that you will get to your destination before this, but this is the system's guaranteed arrival time. So let's go ahead and select this option. A pop-up comes up with the details of the option we selected. The additional instruction section shows us the details of the exact location of the stop. So for the Poinsettia station, the additional instructions state that the pickup or drop-off zone is at the south end of the station. So this is very important. This is where you'll have to go wait for your driver, and this is where your driver will be expecting you. In the case of the drop-off stop, the additional instructions say westbound bus stop and then state the ID of the stop. So in this case, our drop-off point is a bus stop. And let's say OK. This now takes us to the payment screen. Again, at the top, we see a summary of the ride that we're booking. As we scroll down, we see the amount that we need to pay for this ride. To select your payment method, you need to tap on this change button. So right now I have 2 credit cards stored on my account, so those 2 will appear here, and I can select either one of these to pay for my ride. If I have a monthly coaster pass, this service is included for free once I have a monthly coaster pass. So then I would select this option. It's also included in a Region Plus Day Pass. So if I have that, I will select the last option here. Note that you must have these passes with you to show the driver upon boarding the vehicle. In the event you need to add a credit card, you'll select the Add Credit Card option. Here you enter the credit card number, expiry, and other details, and click on Save Card. We're gonna go ahead with the monthly coaster pass for this booking. So that is pretty much it. Now we just select Book Now, and then we get a confirmation that our ride has been booked. We can tap on My Rides, and then this will show us a list of all our upcoming trips or any trips we have happening right now. You can scroll down to the end here to see the ride that we just booked. In the event that I don't need this ride anymore, here's where I'll find the Cancel the Ride option, so I can do that. Once it comes closer to the time of my ride, I'll be able to track the driver's location on this map. In the top left, you'll also see an ETA telling you approximately how long again you have to wait for your driver to come to your location. So it's as simple as that. That is how simple it is to use the Carlsbad Connector app to book a ride.
Okay, thanks, Christy and Rihanna. That concludes today's webinar. So now we're going to open it up to questions. You can type in your question in the box that should be on the right-hand side of your screen. It looks like we had a question that came in during the webinar. It says, is this service available for those that may be coming from further north, maybe taking the Amtrak? And the majority of the commuters, according to our surveys, are coming from the south of Carlsbad or coming from San Diego. However, if you are commuting from the north and heading south on maybe a coaster train from Oceanside or something, you can reserve a ride, but the times are really, the shuttles are timed to meet the northbound trains. Another question that came in is, what if the coaster is running late and you've already booked your ride? Will the Carlsbad Connector wait to depart until the train arrives? Well, all the morning departures from the Carlsbad Poinsettia Station will wait for the arriving southbound train. Morning buses may depart the station a little bit earlier than the time once all the passengers have transferred from their coaster train. Since people are reserving their rides ahead of time, the driver will know that once everybody has that reserved that ride, then they know they can take off. Can you use commuter cards with pre-tax money to pay for it like you can for Uber Pool? I believe that is just a regular, like a credit card, like you've with other things, and that should be able to you could do that. But remember that if you are already using a coaster monthly pass or a Region Plus pass, I think that's what it's called, right? Then that is already free. The next question is, when does this service start? I tried to reserve a ride for Thursday and the app said it was not available. We just actually got the app out there today in the store. So it will start on August 19th, and you can only reserve your rides up to, I think, 7 days in advance. So we're beyond that period right now. So as we get a little bit closer to that time period, you will be able to reserve your ride. How long will the pilot go? Christy, I'm going to kind of throw that to you, and I think we don't really have a set time frame as far how far the pilot will go.
Right, so the three agencies, NCTD, the city, and SANDAG, have all pooled a budget together that, by looking at it, should get us between 8 to 10 months worth of service. It depends on how many people end up riding who have the coaster pass, where then their rides are free, versus people who download the app and are paying for individual rides, because if there are individual payments being made through the app, then that offsets the amount of money that the agencies need to use of their budgeted amount to then pay for the service. It is the intention that this pilot service is part of a larger transportation demand management program. We know that we've been involved in conversations with a lot of the city's employers, but they don't have enough data to really understand, like, how much are their people using a service like this? Are they filling up an entire van? Are they not filling up an entire van? So the hope is that this pilot service will give us the data that we need to have really concrete conversations with employers whose employees are regularly using this service, to try and figure out how do we make the pilot service run in the long term, in the future. We also did a lot of this work based on surveys that employees answered, saying, yes, I'm interested in transit, as Jay said, through iCommute and through the iCommute surveys. But we also recognize that people saying I'm interested in transit and willing to take the train is very different from someone actually using the train as their regular or main source of commuting. And so that's what we're hoping this 8 to 10 months will help us figure out. And then as we get data in after the first couple of months, we can really, start honing in on how do we, if it is successful, which we all are very optimistic and believe it will be, how do we engage the larger business community to continue to help partner with us to make this a long-term service?
Okay, great. Thanks, Christy.
Sure.
Another question that came in, actually, just to follow up with the pretax fares and whether the card can be used. You can actually use your pretax card to purchase your transit fares, yes, and we will follow up to see if you can actually use this, use that pretax card benefit to purchase the actual fare if you're just purchasing the fare. So we will follow up with you on that. Thanks, Ivan. And will cash fares be accepted? Christy and Rihanna, I believe we had determined that cash fares are not being accepted.
Correct. So you can use the app and pay for your fare with a debit card, a credit card, a prepaid card, but there is no cash on hand, because that just creates security issues for drivers, and it also prolongs the amount of time. If drivers have to be available to be able to do cash transactions, it makes the pickup time longer.
Another question that came in, is there any consideration to adding more northbound trains in the morning? There's a long break between trains. During this pilot period, there is not going to be any additional train service, but over the next 5 years, we're working on a plan to add more northbound trains. Our NCTD.
I think the other point of this pilot too, Jay, is that if we can show that there is a market, and a larger market that there has been in the past, that I think that if more people start to ride the train, then that also helps NCTD fulfill, like Jay was saying, their 5-year plan to increase train frequency.
True, thanks. At the end of the pilot, will coaster rides no longer be free? Let me just clarify that the coaster itself is not free. People will still need to pay for their coaster rides, but the connection, the Carlsbad Connector, that is free if you already have purchased a coaster monthly pass or a Region Plus pass. Okay, do you have any other questions? Oh, here's a few more down at the bottom. Let's see. Okay, is there a cost? Is there a cost for the ride with the purchase of a Coaster 3 round trip day pass? The only type, no, you actually do have to pay for your ride at that point. The only passes that are accepted for a free ride on the Carlsbad Connector would be the Coaster Monthly Pass or the Region Plus Pass.
But we will say the Region Plus Pass is cheaper than buying a round trip and then having to pay the one way each way on the Carlsbad Connector. So if you are planning on taking the coaster, even if it's just for one day, that day you should buy the Region Plus Pass because it will be cheaper than if you bought the round trip plus the individual one-way rides.
Great. Okay, I know there's a question in here about are there any options for purchasing discounted coaster passes? I don't believe NCTD has an option for that right now, but we will follow up with NCTD after this webinar and get back to you and put our questions out to the answers to our questions back out to everybody.
I think there is also a question, Jay, because in the demo it shows you can book rides for more than one person. If you are booking rides for more than one person, they all have to be the same fare amount. So if you have a pass and you want to book for a friend who you run into on the train who also has a pass, then one of you can make the reservation for two people. But if you have a pass and let's say want to take out to lunch someone who doesn't have a pass, you can't book for two people on that ride because they have to be paying the same amount. So the option is to either encourage your friend to download the app and book and pay their way for your lunch date, or you could book two separate reservations, one where you say, hey, my ride, I have a pass and that's free, and I'd like to book a separate reservation for my friend, and we are going to pay the $2.50 for their ride.
In the payment section, how will the app know it is a free ride if I have a coaster monthly pass? I'll go ahead and let Rihanna answer that question.
Yeah, sure. So when you select the payment options, you'll see credit card, and then you'll see Region Plus Day Pass and monthly coaster pass. Once you select one of those options, the subtotal would go to 0, and you can just book the ride without paying. But when you're boarding the vehicle, that's the point when the driver would verify. So the driver sees on his side that, oh, this person is boarding and they booked with a monthly coaster pass. So then the driver would ask to see your monthly coaster pass before you can board the vehicle.
And for the questions that we're following up on too, we're going to put those on our website at carlsbadconnector.com. There's a frequently asked questions there, and we can put our answers to these questions on that section of the website. Great. Well, I don't see any other questions coming in right now. So as a reminder, this webinar is recorded and we will email it out to you so you can review it or share it with your coworkers. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact any of us. Our contact information is there on the screen. And thank you all so much for joining us. And we hope to see you all on the coaster and the Carlsbad Connector on August 19th.